Hello, friends. Greeting from Ukraine. Today we have so cold weather, snowing and cold, but nevertheless it's nice because today I had a walk and it was so sunny and there was snow that's has so bright. It was so bright, so nice to see. So today our topic is really interesting, and now we're going to talk about 19th century, and I named it why many Ukrainians speak Russian, or Ukrainian Uprising, Ukrainian National Rebirth of the 19th century. If you have any question, you can write down, and at the end I will answer it. So many foreigners who come to Ukraine, they very often ask why many Ukrainians speak Russian. You have your own national language. Just some days ago I watched the kind of interview with a Ukrainian blogger from Odessa. It was a girl who provided the English lesson online, and the guy who interviewed her, he was from Moscow, he was Russian, and he asked her, why do you use Russian language if you live in Ukraine? Yes. So she was like, I don't speak Ukrainian, I speak just Russian. Odessa is Russian speaking city. And if anybody go to Odessa, they should speak Russian, because it would be strange. For me, it's really strange because for many times I went to Odessa and I spoke Ukrainian, and it wasn't a problem at all. People were really nice, and for me it's really interesting that we have such a city as Odessa, and I met there are Russian speaking people who speak really joyful language. They are joyful people like many people in Odessa, and I met also people who speak Ukrainian. For example, I met there are artists who live there and he speaks great Ukrainian language. So why it's happened? Why so many people in Ukraine speak Russian? I can tell that Russia for many years it did everything for Ukrainians speak Russian. Last video I finished with Cossacks, Ukrainian state, and in that country all Ukrainians speak Ukrainian or at least Polish language. Cossacks did so much for Ukrainian culture. They opened Ukrainian school. Every village had Ukrainian school. Every girl and boy can be educated in Ukrainian language. They printed books. They travel a lot. And when Russian people, actually a Russian delegation came to Ukraine, there are evidence that both sides sometimes didn't understand each other. So although Ukrainian Russian language has the same roots, they are languages who have like 50-50 the same words, just half. In the end of 18th century, Russian Empire, actually emperors like Peter the Great, Catherine the Great, they did everything for Ukraine lost its independence. It starts from the big dividing. In the end of the 18th century, Poland was divided between Russia and between Austro-Hungarian and Germans, I think. But Western Ukraine was absorbed by Austro-Hungarian, and Russian Empire took the biggest part of Ukraine. We call it Pridniprovska Ukraina, Ukraine near the Dnieper River. In that time we had many educated people. In that time, as you remember, we already had university for 200 years, Kyiv-Mogila Academy. And many Cossacks, Ukrainian elite, studied there. They studied there Ukrainian, Polish language, Latin. They were introduced to the best literature of Europe, and they were really educated. In that time, education just started to grow in Russian Empire. In the beginning of the 18th century, Moscow University was established, and Russian empires invited Ukrainian intelligentsia, the best Ukrainians, to build university, to build education in Russia. That is why many Ukrainians moved there to Russia. And actually, in the end of 18th century, many Ukrainians were on the top of the best position at university, and also many Ukrainians became bishops, and they headed even Russian church. But in some moment, probably after Poland was cut in between different states, Russia started to cut the right of Ukrainian nobility. Russia told, you need to approve your noble statue. So that is why all these Ukrainian nobles here, they come back to their roots. They started to search for their family emblems. They started to search for their family history, because they need these documents. By the way, I forgot about illustration. So here you can see Ukraine between different states. For example, this the big state, the big part came to Russian Empire, here Dnieper River, and we call it Pridniprovska Ukraina. And Western Ukraine, this is Lviv, Ternopil, came to Austro-Hungarian, here, Austro-Hungarian Empire. So they were divided until the Russian Revolution. Here you can see one of the representatives of Ukrainian nobility. As you see, this man got a award from Russian Empire. For a long time, these people lived in Russia. They started to speak Russian, but nevertheless, many of them didn't forgot about Ukraine. And as I told, they came back to their roots. One of these people wrote the first book about Ukrainian history. This is this book called Historia Russia, History of the Rus. history of Ruthenia. Ruthenia, this is Kiev Rus, the big state that was in the medieval time. But even in that time, many people recognize themselves as a Rus and their state as Ruthenia, not Ukrainian. And this man till now is unknown. We don't know who wrote this book, because probably he want to be unknown for Tsar. Yeah. So he wrote about history of Kiev Rus, about Cossack history. He was very polite to the Tsar. He thought that we need to be like the part of Russian Empire, but nevertheless he liked to see Ukrainian autonomy. They would like to see Ukrainian autonomy state like this, to have more right. So till now we have this book, Historia Russia. And what actually Russia, yes, they do with Ukrainians? They encourage them to move to Russia. They encourage them to leave their country and to work for Russian Empire. And I think this situation is typical for many. It's happened during the different period of Ukrainian history, because when Ukraine was incorporated by Polish state in 16th century, Poland also encouraged Ukrainian nobles to speak Polish language, to got Polish customs. And that is why we lost Ukrainian elite. That is why we lost, I think, our state. And actually nowadays the situation is similar, because you can see here people who leave Ukraine and move to Poland. Now Polish state encouraged Ukrainians, especially Ukrainians who had Polish roots, move to Poland, and they give them Karta Polaka, Polish card. According to this card, they can be citizen of Poland and they can work there. And really many people immigrated from Ukraine. Yeah, it's a difficult process, because actually Polish people also moved to England, to other Western states that are more developed than Poland, so they need workforce. Here you can see one of the representatives of Ukrainian intelligentsia. The name of this man is Mikhailo Maximovich. His family is from the old Cossack roots. Actually, he came from the old Cossack family. He was very educated. He studied biology in Moscow University. Moscow asked him to come, invited him to Moscow University. But he met there one of the best men of Russian Empire. This is Alexander Pushkin, poet Alexander Pushkin, writer Mykola Gogol. And he shared his interest to Cossack life, to Ukraine with them. So even these people, they became like highlight of Ukrainian history in Russian Empire. But in the same time, in 1833, in the territory of Ukraine, there happened so-called Polish Uprising. Noble Polish people the representative of the noble family, they started uprising, they started protests against Russian Empire. Actually, they started war. And here you can see Polish army who go for the war against Russian army. And as you see, it's headed by girl. And there was girl who, Polish girl who also fought for Polish independence. Actually, it can understand them because Poland was the big state, but now it was just shared between different states, and they really wanted to be independent as well. This uprising, it was destroyed. It was defeated by Russian army, and the heads of this uprising were taken to the prison in center of Kiev, and they were shooting near this wall. You can see here cross and the ancient wall. Actually, here Ukrainian and Polish flag, flowers. Every year, Polish embassy bring their flowers and memorize Polish uprising, people who died there. This place called now Kiev Fortress because Polish revolutionaries were taken to the prison, and this prison was inside of the fortress. Now this is a really nice museum. This museum is nearby Kiev Rus Hotel, near in the central Kiev, and if you visit it, it's really nice because it have bank, it have cannons, and also from the top you can see the big part of Kiev. And for instance, this is Olympic Stadium. There are great view on the Olympic Stadium. It's really nice to see. I used to work there for I think 3 years in this museum, and it's really nice to go there and to see all this highlight. After Polish uprising, Moscow Tsar decided to fight against Polish people against Ukrainian. Russian Tsar Nicholas I understand that the Russian Empire is very big. It's contains different nations, not only Russian, but almost half of the people who live in this empire speak different languages. They didn't speak Russian. That is why he started so-called program of Russification. He wanted to see everybody speak Russian. Start from the 1831, Ukrainian language at school was dismissed by Russian. Before, Ukrainian school had only Ukrainians, yes, and they moved to Russian. All documentary moved to Russian language. By the way, almost the same was in the part of Ukraine, in the western part on Ukraine, which was under Austro-Hungarian. And all school in that part became Polish. It's got Polish language. Forbidden to print book in Ukrainian language and or import from abroad, because many books were printed in Ukrainians in Austro-Hungary. Austro-Hungary was more liberal in contrast to Russian Empire. And Ukrainian language was prohibited even in theater. All theater should speak Russian. So it was the big defeat of Ukraine. But nevertheless, a Russian Tsar decided to create university in Kiev. This university got name St. Vladimir University. Vladimir is a Kiev prince who made Christianization of the Slavic people, so Tsar decided to take his name. Now this university got the name of Tarashichenko. You can see here this university in the center of Kiev. It's a very nice red color like this. Interesting that the first rector, the head of this university, became Mykola Maximovich. The same name, this man who was from Ukraine, who studied in Moscow University, and now he came back to Ukraine. Not only he, but many Ukrainians came back to Ukraine. So it was a good idea for Ukraine to create this university, because the highlight of Ukrainian intelligent world moved to Ukraine and started to work for Ukraine. One of the men who worked there was Tarashichenko. Now this university got his name, University of Tarashichenko. You can see his portraits when he was young, and this is he old. Actually, he is not old, because he was just 40 years old, but he died when he was about 48, I think, because his life was very difficult. Tarashichenko, he was simple Ukrainian boy, yeah. He was from my region. This town where I am now, it's about 30 kilometers from Tarashichenko village. And in that time he was surfer, he was bandman, he was dependent of some nobleman. In that time most of Ukrainians were self-dom, yes. Here they were dependent of some nobleman. They should to work for him, for his land. But Tarashichenko, he like much reading book. He like much painting. And this nobleman who he worked for pay attention on his talent and took him to St. Petersburg. And there Tarashichenko met different Russian artists, Russian poets. He know Pushkin, he know different artists, and his friend paid for his freedom. He became independent. Actually, he lived in St. Petersburg, and he could have a good life there, because his painting were really great. He had good pictures, but he was the big patriot of Ukraine. And during the day he wrote his picture, but during the night he wrote his poem. He started to be poets. He wrote these poets in Ukrainian language, in the village Ukrainian language. His Russian friend really liked these poems, but they asked why he write it by so simple Ukrainian language, some village language, yes. But he was the big patriot, and he was one of the first who write by Ukrainian language. And actually, he was one of the creator of literature Ukrainian language. When he came to Ukraine, he was invited to this university, Kiev University. He became one of the teacher of this university, of Shevchenko University, St. Vladimir University. And there were many men who took care about Ukraine. And together with Tarashichenko, they created secret political organization. Its name was the Brotherhood of Saint Cyril and Methodius. They met secretly, and they did the plan, the draft, how they see Ukraine. They want to see Ukrainian as autonomy, as independent state inside of the Russian Empire. In that time it was very popular because the USSR, they became the country with many self-governed land autonomy state, yes. So in that time in Europe there was spring of nation when people in Czech Republic, in Hungary, in different countries, they united for creation their own state, independent state. It was period of liberalization, and many people were against self-dom. And this Saint Cyril and Methodius organization, they were also for dismiss self-dom. But this organization was here just for, by the way, this is the members of this organization, Tarashichenko and his friends. This organization existed just for 1 year. After that, Tsar police revealed it, and Tarashichenko was sent to Central Asia as a militarist. He became militarist there, and the Tsar Nicholas I prohibited him to write and paint because he wrote poems against Tsar. Yeah. He had very difficult life there, but when he came back, he became like symbol of Ukrainian freedom. Many people share his book secretly, and till now Tarashichenko is the symbol of Ukraine. Here his very famous word, борітеся, поборитеся, fight and you will be win. And actually this was the symbol of Euromaidan, Euro Revolution. You can see people who were on barricades. In that time, many foreigners came to visit Ukraine. They saw Ukrainians and they like Ukraine because Ukraine was seen by them as some fairy tale country. There are people sing a song, whereas the great nature. And German philosopher Johann Herber, he once told, someday we'll awake there, and a cultural nation, those influence will be spread through the world. He told that one day that in Ukraine there will be the great nation, and the world will see Ukraine. And the next part of our story is about Ukrainian revolution against Ukrainian uprising after the Russian Revolution 1917. It was the short period, but nevertheless very light. By the way, this day we commemorate people who fight on Maidan 7 years ago. It was 7 years ago, 2014. In the February 2014, many people died there. And Euromaidan also was like one of the platform, one of the fundamental thing for Ukrainian uprising, for Ukrainian national buildings. I'm here. Hello, who is watching me? Yes, if you have a question, you can write here. By the way, if you watch, you can write a review for this page. It's very important for us for development of this page. So thank you for watching. This is a nice sunny day in Ukraine, Friday, and I hope in your country is nice weather as well. So I see you next time, very soon. See you.